Something I've come to realize as a neurodivergent person is the importance of signposting humor. My humor skews very deadpan, very black, gallows humor, and it can really take people by surprise. And I've often made jokes that I thought were funny, but other people found insensitive, ill-timed, or maybe just inappropriate. And not to say that I have to always temper who I am and how my identity shows up in my interpersonal interactions. I think we should feel free to be who we are. Obviously, we have to moderate that and, read the room and pick our audience to see if they're going to be receptive. That's the first thing. Not everybody enjoys gallows or black humor or deadpan humor or won't get deadpan humor. And for me, I've learned that in order for my humor to translate, I often have to accompany it with a smile or some kind of exaggerated expression so that the person can clearly identify this as a joke and that I'm not being serious. I find that I also have to, and I know this kills the joke, spell it out that it is a joke. Obviously, you're not supposed to signpost humor because that detracts from the value of people getting it on their own. If you're spelling it out, it clearly isn't funny enough to be gotten. But I understand that as a general rule, but I think also some people will just not get the joke unless you're very direct in signposting it or calling it out, or the delivery is obviously humorous. So saying something like, oh yeah, like that's not hard at all, obviously makes it clear that, my exaggerated tone is sarcastic and therefore I'm attempting humor. Sometimes I literally just say, just joking, I'm kidding, or I'm just messing with you, so that the person knows that I'm not being nasty. Because I know in Australia, for example, where I grew up, the sense of humor skews more towards teasing and like making fun of people. And it's like, it shows that somebody, some people might read it as passive aggressive, but I think it's also just showing endearment if you do that. But I've noticed that in cultures where that isn't the norm, it isn't always the norm here in the US, that it can be taken as me actually being malicious when I'm not at all trying to be malicious. I'm just making a joke. So I found in my role in facilitating social groups or participating in social groups that I have to be very direct about my humor. And I also have to time it so that I know that, there's the right pause for it, that it's going to be receptive, and that it's going to be appropriate to the setting. And for the most part, people are pretty obliging and polite about it, even if it isn't the most funniest joke. And I found that signposting it does help if people don't know you and they can't read your sense of humor. And because the jokes can sometimes be very abstract. I've noticed as somebody who's neurodivergent, it's not going to always be blatant that it is a joke, because it's like it would not read conventionally to most people as being a joke. What have your challenges been with humor and expressing humor in social settings? How have you found other people read it, particularly neurotypicals? Do you find you have to also signpost that you have to use certain expressions, that you have to exaggerate your tone in order for the joke to be received well? I would love to hear from you.